Looking at green walls, there are actually two different kinds of green walls, and they are quite different: a facade or a true living wall. A green facade has plants that are planted in the ground. They're growing in the ground, and the plant is just, maybe it's a vine or something like that. The plant just comes from the ground and climbs up a trellis. So it's really something growing in the ground. You can use purchased trellis systems. A real common one is by Green Screen. So this is their line of work: trellises for green walls. That is, green facades, I should say. Green facades are relatively quick and they're cost effective. They provide quick shade for a building, and also because of the plants with evapotranspiration, they provide additional cooling. And because of the leaf surfaces, they trap some pollutants, and then of course they're good for birds and insects. If you go to Miami, you will see a lot of green facades on places like parking structures, like you see here. This is a parking, I was going to say it's facing south, but I don't think it is. This whole parking structure is surrounded by a green facade in any event, and it keeps the wall cooler. Here's one at the National Wildlife Federation. By the way, this is an article from the Living Architecture Monitor, and that is the journal published by Green Roofs for Healthy Cities that we looked at in the last PowerPoint. So this is about a green facade at their facility. You can see here I think this is by Green Screen, the trellis, and you can see the vines growing up. Living wall is different. Living walls, which are also known as vertical gardens, were developed by a botanist, a French botanist, Patrick Blanc, and this botanist studied how plants grow on cliffs. He did a great deal of research using climbing gear to climb up here. He collected a lot of data, and he really worked to understand how these plants grow where they grow. So a living wall, a vertical garden, has plants that are actually rooted on the vertical surface. That's quite different from a green facade. They're growing on this wall just like a plant that grows on a cliff. They can be on the exterior of a building like we see at this hotel, or they could be planted on walls in the interiors. Here are some Patrick Blanc projects. Here's an interior green wall at the new Amazon headquarters in Seattle. You've probably seen it from the outside, that big glass spherical bubble. Here's a green roof on the inside of that building. Here's one at the Vancouver Aquarium in British Columbia. This is part of a LEED Gold building, an education center. I kind of think that this wall was more of a demonstration feature than anything. And you'll notice, I got these pictures when it was just newly installed. You'll notice that you can see they used modules from a vendor, and you can see the edges of the boxes there. Look at this. This is a green wall that is a sculpture. Jeff Koons is a well-known sculptor, and he created this sculpture named Puppy for the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain. It's actually quite big. If you look at the bottom right corner, you can see some humans for scale, and also in the upper right you can see some humans for scale. And notice how Puppy nicely complements this Frank Gehry architecture. The shapes and forms and surfaces of the two juxtaposed together really just make a unified whole. Because these plants are actually growing on the vertical surface, like on a cliff, they need care. They need nutrients and they need water. And a lot of living walls are kind of like hydroponic gardens, really. They require maintenance and input. Here are two living walls on the ends of a hotel in London. And here are, in various photos at various scales of zooming, here are maintenance workers who are weeding and monitoring this wall. This hotel uses rainwater harvesting, so rainwater is captured from the roof. It trickles down through those living walls, and that's how it's irrigated. And the designer has calculated that this whole system can store over 2,600 gallons of water, which has a big impact on the flashiness of flooding. It also provides wonderful insulation for the hotel, so it's reduced its energy load.